Welcome to Leica Photography. Today we're in the beautiful town Hamburg. We're now in the new area where a lot of new buildings were built, and it's a beautiful place to take pictures. And today I have with me a very special camera. It's a Leica M10 with the 35mm f1.4 Summilux lens. It's the first time I shoot with a Leica, so let's see what we can do with it. The idea is to photograph the buildings. There are many people now in Hamburg, so I also want to photograph some people on the streets. Let's see how that works with the only manual focusing. I'm very used to face detection and face recognition, and the cameras I usually shoot help me get the image right pretty quickly. This camera does the opposite. It doesn't help me, it gets in the way, and therefore I have to focus and challenge myself to get the shot. So let's see how we get there. So these are the first images we take with the Leica M10 with the 35mm f1.4 Summilux lens. I'm just trying to feel how the focus goes. Sometimes I look through the camera and don't know in which direction do I have to turn the focus to focus something closer or focus on something in the background. Let's take a look at the minimal distance. So I am in Germany, I am German. So when I speak here, mostly I speak in German. So I thought, let me make an audio over this video to give you some more details what I'm doing here. I'm trying to see how close can I get to the subject, and this is the closest distance. And I'm still trying to get a feel for the camera. I feel like a nerd. I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like really a true beginner to photography, because I have to concentrate and focus so much on just getting the focus right. The other settings, aperture I choose manually, but ISO and shutter speed I have on auto, so I don't have to care about that, but I do have to care about the autofocus. Sorry, the manual focus. There is no autofocus. And just after like 20 minutes, I now try to go and photograph some people on the streets. Now these people said no, and so there are so many people everywhere, and so all I need is the courage to go and say hi, and then magic can happen or magic cannot happen. This is the second group I talked to. They said no. Now here are 4 girls. They said yes. So let's take a look at how the first photo shoot with the Leica M10 after 30 minutes around looks like. Stimmung gehabt. Wir können das ruhig hier machen. Aber da nicht zu nah. Nein, ich mache das immer rucki-zucki. Und wo kommt ihr? Wo kommt ihr her?
Also ich wohne gerade in Hamburg, genau. Wir wohnen in der Nähe, also zwischen München und Nürnberg.
Ach so. Ganz unten, ne?
Ja. Das ist die Ding.
Ja, dann geht ruhig einmal zusammen. Wollt ihr die Wasserflaschen zur Seite nehmen? Dann habt ihr die Hände frei. Schauen wir mal. Ja, schön. Ihr stellt euch einfach einmal zusammen. Dann haben wir den Haken mit drauf. Schau einmal. Einmal so. Gudi. Und nehmt euch ruhig so ein bisschen in den Arm. Ja, schön so. Ja, schön. Ich mache auch einmal. Also einmal von euch beiden einmal. Einfach so als kleinere Gruppe. Einmal Lucky. Wo ist der Vogel? Ja, schön so. Und auch einmal von euch. Kann auch einfach hier so sein. Einmal schauen. Bam. Ja, schön. Und vielleicht sogar noch einmal hier, dass wir noch einen anderen Hintergrund haben. Bam. Dann kann ich euch einmal auch format.
So nah bei Julia.
Ja.
Julia bleibt weg.
Ja, alle einmal zusammen, einmal schauen. So. Ja, sehr schön. Und vielleicht wollt ihr euch einmal hinsetzen?
Ja.
Ich fotografiere von dort.
Ich will meine Farbe machen.
Dann haben wir doch eine andere Perspektive. Schau mal einmal. Fokus. Ja, schön so. Einmal. Ja, schön. Ich schau mal einmal so. Einmal Lucky. Ja, sehr schön.
Ja, gar nicht.
Ja, ist gut. Ich gehe nochmal einen Schritt zurück. Ja, schön. So. Und alle einmal schauen. Ja, sehr schön so. Und schaut nochmal alle so ein bisschen zu dem grünen Schiff hier rüber. Und stellt euch vor, da kommen gerade eure Traummänner vorbei. Ja, schön. Und ich mache mal eben einmal von jedem einzeln einmal so eins. Dann habt ihr eins einzeln. Ich muss noch einmal eben hier schauen. Guti. Ja, ist schon so. Ist auch schön mit dem Wind. Einmal so. Ja, schön. Einmal auch von dir. Mal schauen. Und auch einmal so. Ja, red mal. So. Ja, schön. Kann man einmal schauen. Ich habe die Kamera jetzt auf schwarz-weiß eingestellt. Okay. Ich zeige euch die mal. Ich mache den Monitor noch hin. Das heißt, wir schauen. Kann man das noch besser sehen? Da. Monitor halt sehr hoch. Play. Und die Bilder sind alle auch in Farbe, aber die werden jetzt nur in schwarz-weiß eben angezeigt. Ist jetzt.
Vor allem ja mit unserem weißen Oberteil. Ja, weil man nicht so gleich voll, ja.
Ich mache immer mehrere Bilder. Man kann das jetzt auf dem Monitor nicht so gut sehen. Now I go to the next couple and I think maybe not. And up to the next couple. So what I say is I'm a photographer, I do some kind of street photography. Here are some images I can show you. I take these images in 2 or 3 minutes and the people can buy the images afterwards for a couple of euros, couple of dollars, couple of pounds. And then we start. I always take the pictures wherever I am. If you want to see more of this kind of photography, I have 500 videos just about the street photography from Greece, from Italy, from Spain, from the Netherlands, from Germany, from UK and from other places, France for example. And it works everywhere, even if you don't speak the language. Sometimes I have to talk with my hands when I'm in other countries like in Italy or in France. I don't speak the languages and it still works. And when I started photography, I didn't make any money for 8 months, and so I had 2 choices: either stop and get back to the normal job or use my university degree, which I had in economics, or I just try harder. What you see right here is me trying harder, and I did it so often that it became joy instead of fear. When you go into fear more often, that fear becomes joy, it becomes excitement. You look forward to it instead of being afraid of it. And this is what it looks like. And please consider it's the first day with the Leica M10 and all these images are taken manual focus. And many images are taken at f1.4 because I always go to open aperture. Because I want to see, is the camera practical? May it make sense to buy such a camera, and can I use it at f1.4? If all images turn out blurry at f1.4, I know I don't need to buy an f1.4 lens, I can go to f2.0 lens, which is 1,000 euros or even more cheaper. The combination cost 10,000 euros or over $10,000, M10 and the 35 1.4 lens, and while I was shooting all the time, I had no idea what that actually means. I mean, such a big price tag for a camera that doesn't have autofocus. I still had, I thought about my gear that I have, the Canon stuff, and when I put 10,000 euros price tag on it, how much lenses and camera bodies I get for it with great autofocus. So now time has passed since I shot these images, and it's a really interesting, different feel and approach to photography using a Leica. And so let's continue with the day here.
Yeah, I don't ask for nothing but the sunshine. The race is going one day to blind my eyes, and birds fly around like you can move from wind, fly until they find the place where you have been. Ask for the direction and it's back in time. The workaholics say to say you die, but knowing you'd come back, children await you. She open them doors to make them faithful. Nightmares vanish, dreams come true. It's what they say every time they're seeking you. Time starts to tick, air starts to breathe. They wonder what means the day to me. I never thought about waking up in dreams. Never thought about being me. I never thought about just breaking it up. I'm breaking it stuff, I'm breaking it up.
Another day is born.
Come and wake me up.
Another day is born.
Come and wake me up.
Another day is born.
Come and take me up.
Another day is born.
Come and wake me up. People in the world are going to work like them beggars, don't take your hands, remaining in dirt, and you melt them snow, let them trees grow tall, and the seasons go by while you won't leave at all. You're the hope and the strength.
So down there are 3 girls. I just saw them and I thought, maybe I can just talk to them and we take some pictures. And
Ich mach mal die 3.
so let's take a look at it. As I speak German in the video, and you may not speak German, I thought, let me just talk over this video so you get a bit of understanding what I'm doing, what's my philosophy behind it. I always approach people with heart and love and openness. I always have a lot of eye contact. I usually never focus much on the camera gear. The camera is very low in the priority list in the photo shoot. It's always getting a nice emotion out of the other person. Getting nice emotions out of the other person in front of me. That is the main goal. The camera then just is an accessory that comes into the moment when I got that nice emotion. So my job as a photographer is whatever I photograph, whether it's on a wedding or a couple photo shoot, or even for a business company, my goal, my job that I see as a photographer is to get a beautiful emotion out of someone. This is my main job. What camera I use doesn't really matter. What lens I use doesn't really matter. You will find videos on this channel where I do this kind of street photography with a 20mm wide-angle lens, 24mm lens, 35mm lens, 50mm lens, 85mm lens, and 135mm lenses. So from super wide to telephoto lens, all these lenses work great. Images all have the same emotion and quality. But the key is to get a great emotion out of somebody, to give someone a nice feeling. That's my main job. And these shootings on the streets with people that I don't know, that's a great practice. It's like being a musician who has no gig, who doesn't have a concert, just going out on the street and practicing on the street. I think it's the most honest way as an artist to live your love. I love photography, so I live it every day, and if I don't have an assignment, I go out on the street and take pictures of people on the streets, and actually they can buy the images afterwards. Now when I film it, like today, everybody gets all images for free, but usually I don't film it, and then the people can buy the images, and I can control 100% my income completely by the number of people I talk to. The more people I talk to, the more people say yes, so the more people I actually can photograph, and so the more people then will buy the images, and I can control my income all the time just by controlling the numbers of people I talk to. Whether they say yes or no doesn't matter. The first groups I talked to on exactly that same place that day said no, but the next 2-3 groups said yes. So it doesn't matter who says yes, who says no. What matters is the number. Success is a numbers game. When you manage, when you when you master the numbers, you master the outcome. And it's not to get out of failure, it's to understand that failure is part of the process. If I have at the end of the day 10 no's, I have also 10 yes. If I only get 3 no's, I probably only got 3 or 4 yes. If I got 100 no's, I know I had 100 yes, because it's 50-50 my ratio. I talk to 10 people or 10 couples, 5 say yes, 5 say no. That's my ratio. Half of the people I talk to say yes, half of the people say no. On that day, more people said yes than no. On the day before with the Canon R5, more people said yes than no. But in general, half of the people say yes, half say no. So when I know that, it doesn't matter who says yes, who says no. I talk to 10 couples and 5 say yes, so these 5 I can photograph. Who says yes and who says no doesn't really matter. And the photo shoots always take just a couple of minutes.
Ich habe die Kamera auf Automatik eingestellt. Manchmal sind die Bilder ein bisschen dunkler. Aber wenn die Bilder ein bisschen dunkler sind, das macht nichts. Ich schicke euch alle Bilder in Farbe und schwarz-weiß. Und ihr könnt die Bilder ausdrucken, euren Eltern schenken, auf Facebook packen, was ihr möchtet. Ich wollte nur für mich einmal testen, so kriege ich das hin, damit People zu fotografieren.
Like the king and the queen, living more than just life and above the dream. But of the love for lifetime, we're above the skyline, angels fly beside us. Went from boy and girl to wife and husband, finally life became fantastic. The lovers couples can meth with, take love like addicts. Without you, I panic. Without you, I couldn't handle this stuff in my heart. Cause I had to separate those who fuck and who love. Cause most smiles ain't real, last words get lost. And you have found the love I want, and it's worth all costs. Like the king and queen, living more than just life and above the dream. Like the prince and the princess, and we love each other, even though we've been dressed. Like the husband and the wife, making life so precious without money, but a child. The lovers couples can meth with, take love like addicts. Without you, I'll panic.
The king for my kingdom, the prince for my bed. This is what I found in you. The father for my child, the boy in my past is you.
Alright, now close my eyes and remember you. When you're gone, I have to depend on you. So when you leave, I'm left with just some of your pictures. But I can't talk to them, either squeeze them like I did. Yeah, I'm the baby, you're my mother beside me. Protect me at night, even in my dreams you guide me. Life was nothing until you gave sense to it. And as long as we're together, there's no end to it. Now I love you. From the bottom of my heart, I say I love you. From the bottom of my... Like the king and the queen, living more than just life and above the dream. Like the prince and the princess, and we love each other, even though we've been dressed. Like the husband and the wife, making life so precious without money, but a child. Like the boy and the girl, live and enjoy the new world and nothing else.
So, we got our first experiences with the Leica M10 and manual focus when photographing people, which is kind of a very difficult thing manually with 35mm f1.4. I have to say I have many Canon cameras, I think 7 full-frame cameras, and none of them I like to use with manual focus. None of them I cannot really see where the focus is, especially not at wide open aperture. And even on the Canon RP, for example, even with the focus peaking, I cannot really tell where the focus is completely. So with this in mind, having no experience in manual focusing, with this in mind, I went into this Leica day. I paid 230 euros to rent the Leica M10 plus the lens for one day, which is a pretty great price. You may say that's a lot of money, 230 euros or pounds or dollars, but actually it's a 10,000 euro camera. And when I look at other 10,000 euro gear stuff like the Fuji GFX 100, I pay double the amount or even more for it without a lens. So relative to other cameras, or the R5 I got the day before cost me 150 euros and is half the price when buying it. So for me it was a great price. I always try to live my dreams,
Okay.
and trying a Leica has been a dream.
Bist du noch bis Wochenende?
While I was going for that day,
Ja, ich komme aus.
I was actually thinking about buying one, starting with the M9 or M240,
Ja, genau, die ganze Zeit.
and
Schönes Wetter, ne?
but I wanted to see, does it make sense to buy a lens like this? This is a 35 1.4 Summilux lens, cost 4,500 euros, and I wanted to see, does it make sense to actually invest into the Leica system? And while I'm here taking pictures, I was there were two different situations. The situation while I'm in the photo shoot, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea if the images turn out sharp. I don't have the time to look at the images. I'm just shooting and I'm trying to be with the people. But I don't look at the images and see if I hit focus. I say on that day, let's just shoot out of my feelings. And then in the evening or tomorrow, let's take a look at the images on the computer and see, could we manage to get focus or did we mess up? I was expecting a lot of mess up moments in terms of me with manual focus, because the people move towards the camera, they move away, they're not always on the same line next to each other, so one person is out of focus. They are not careful, so I get focused. They don't care about me using the camera, because they don't know that I have to struggle here getting the focus right. And so while I'm taking these images, I'm super insecure about focusing, and I'm struggling all the time looking through the viewfinder, through the rangefinder. I'm super insecure. But when I got a look at the images, I was amazed how well I got focus. And I thought, this is day number 1. I picked up the camera 1 hour ago. And I'm already now photographing a couple of photo shoots on the streets. And at this moment, I shoot wide open f1.4. And I'm amazed at how well that works, because at f1.4 it's really not easy to hit focus. That's what I know, because when I use f1.4 on my older Canon cameras with autofocus, not every image is in focus. So even with autofocus, I get missed shots. Today with the newer cameras, with the dual pixel AF, it's very different. It's all sharp, all in focus, like the Sony cameras and the Fuji and the Nikon. You will kind of never ever have missed shots again with the new technology that's out now. Now you may get some shots out of focus, but 90+% are in focus, even at f1.2, f1.4. But with the Leica M camera, that's something different, and that's what we want. We want to earn an image. We want to deserve the image. The more the camera has technology in it, the less intense is the experience of photography. Now the day before I had the Canon R5 with an 85 1.2 lens. That is a powerful setup, but it didn't give me any emotion. The camera just felt like any other camera that I got. There was really nothing special about it, which sounds crazy because the camera is kind of the best camera on the market right now, but the experience was just too easy and it didn't excite me. Here with the Leica, I have to focus, I have to concentrate, I have to really be intense in the moment, to be with the people and get the emotion, but also to get focus, and even when they move around a lot. So let's take a look how I get to manage these two girls here in terms of getting the focus right.
Sieht gut aus ohne Brille auch.
Ja.
Schönen Look habt ihr beide.
Dankeschön. Er ist halt so windig, aber das ist ja Hamburg-Vibe.
Ist okay.
Ist ja Hamburg.
Ist Hamburg.
Das verwirrt mich ehrlich gesagt am meisten hier.
Ich schau mal
Kommen wir
eben.
dann auf YouTube ein?
Haben wir da, das haben wir uns
Warte,
dann
jetzt steht aber. Wie soll ich jetzt?
Einmal so.
Jetzt.
Einmal Lucky. Wo ist der Vogel? Ja, schön so. Und kommt noch einmal etwas näher, einmal so. Mal schauen. Ich muss immer einmal hier die. Gudi. Ja, schön. Und ich mache nochmal von jedem eins einzeln und dann ist schon. Oder ich mache einmal so. Sonst komm einmal hier mit her. Komm einmal hier mit her. Und schaut einmal zueinander, dass du gar nicht zu mir schaust, sondern. Ja, genau. Mal so. Ja, schön so. Sehr schön. Und noch einmal zu mir. Einmal so. So.
Echt gute Fotos.
Und noch einmal von dir.
Kannst du mal deine Taschen nehmen?
Gucken wir uns gleich die Bilder einmal an. Einmal.
Warte.
Ja, einmal so von. Ja, sehr schön so. Guti. Und einmal, dass ich dich ganz drauf habe. Einmal so. Ja, sehr schön. Und schau noch mal so ein bisschen aufs Wasser rauf. Sehr schön so. Ja, perfekt. Ja, schön.
Ah, cool.
Wir können einmal. Die Kamera braucht einen Moment noch.
Was ist das für ein?
Das ist eine Leica. Die sind recht teuer.
Cool.
Ja.
Ja, sehr schön.
Und die Bilder sind jetzt in Schwarz-Weiß, aber die Bilder sind alle auch in Farbe. Und ich schicke euch die Bilder in Farbe und Schwarz-Weiß.
Oh mein Gott, danke schön. Boah, richtig schön.
Manchmal, die Kamera ist jetzt auf Automatik, manchmal sind die Bilder ein bisschen dunkel. Aber das macht nichts. Also,
Ja, klar, ja.
You and me,
Like the king and the queen, living more than just life and above the dream.
you and me,
Build up the love for lifetime, we're above the skyline, angels fly beside us.
you and me,
Went from boy and girl to wife and husband, finally life became
you
fantastic.
and me,
The lovers couples can meth with, take love like addicts. Without you, I panic, without you I couldn't handle this stuff in my heart. Cause I had to separate those who fuck and who love. Cause most smiles ain't real, last words get lost. And you have found the love I want, and it's worth all costs.
you and me,
Like the king and queen, living more than just life and above the dream.
you and me,
Like the prince and the princess, and we love each other, even though we've been dressed.
you and me,
Like the husband and the wife, making life so precious without money, but a child.
you and me,
The lovers couples can meth with, take love like addicts. Without you, I'll panic.
the king for my kingdom, the prince for my bed. This is what I found in you, the father for my child, the boy in my past is you.
Alright, now close my eyes and remember you. When you're gone, I have to depend on you. So when you leave, I'm left with just some of your pictures. But I can't talk to them, either squeeze them like I did. Yeah, I'm the baby, you're my mother beside me. Protect me at night, even in my dreams you guide me. Life was nothing until you gave sense to it. And as long as we're together, there's no end to it. Now I love you.
Now, during the day, all the time, there were some moments where something happened, like a car is driving by that is really beautiful. And again, two very different situations. I am in the situation, I take the picture, and I have no idea if it's in focus, where the focus is. I'm guessing, I'm just pushing the button. But now, looking at the images on the computer, most of the time it actually did work. And that really fascinated me, because I'm thinking, if I use this camera now, let's say for a week, the level of accuracy that I may get just within a week, I think is probably on par with autofocus, but with a very more intense integration of me being part of the photographing process. So taking a picture is a process. The more I have to be part of it, the more I have to do, the more intense the experience is for me. Like when you shoot film, you have to consider the aperture, ISO, shutter speed, you have to set the film, you have to wind it. There's so much that you do with your hands, like the craft of taking pictures of photography. That experience alone is a very different experience than picking up a digital camera or the smartphone and to take pictures. And that is what I'm going for. I have all the autofocus cameras. I'm looking for something different.
Ich bin Fotograf
And that's
und mache
why
so
this
spontane
video
Street-Photography. zeig euch mal, wie das ausschaut.
is here now, and I want to share this experience for other people who don't have, who haven't used a Leica camera, but who want to see, can I take pictures with it, can I photograph people, and now here we're next in the next photo
En
session.
España, ¿de dónde?
De Madrid.
De Madrid. Ah, ja. Ah, es una ciudad bonita también.
Ja.
En Berlin es Berlin es como Madrid, pero en
Grande.
alemán.
grande.
Ja, en grande y alemán.
Bueno.
Y está muy guay así. Y está una pareja así. Ya, muy guay. Voy a ver. Muy guay. Ah, ja. Muy guay. Perfecto. ¿Y un beso? Y por ejemplo, tú puedes estar aquí y tú, sí, o así. Ya, perfecto. ¿Y otro beso? Muy guay. Ja. Yo voy un poco más lejos, pero está súper bonito. Sí, muy guay. Podéis disfrutar. Mucho amor. Muy guay. Y vamos, vamos a sentarnos aquí. Por ejemplo, tú puedes sentarte aquí y tú puedes sentarte aquí.
Sí, con sus.
Ya, muy guay. ¿Tú quieres fotos sin gafas también?
Bueno. Claro.
Ya, muy guay. Yo voy a ver. Pom.
Horrible, va a salir.
Ya, muy guay. Y ya, podéis mirar un poco en el fondo. Sí. Y tú puedes dar un beso a él.
Yo a él. Ah, tú a mí.
Muy guay. Y ahora tú a él. Ah, ya. Muy guay. Y una vez, tú por ejemplo, aquí detrás y con tu mano. Ah, ya. Ah, muy súper bonita. Vamos a ver. Muy guay. Y tú puedes dar otro beso. Ah, ya. Ya, perfecto. Y una última aquí. Bam. Sí. O vosotros así. Sí. Y tú puedes poner tus manos aquí.
¿Ella?
O tú aquí. Ah, ya, perfecto. Muy guay. Yo voy a ver. Yo voy un poco más cerca. Ya, super bonito. Y otro beso y finito. Listo. Ya, muy bien. Vamos a ver las fotos. La cámara necesita un momento para...
Und du machst das Ganze auch auf Deutsch, wäre es denn
Ja,
Deutsch eigentlich
okay.
ganz gut.
Ja.
Ganz gut.
Ja.
Die Kamera, ich habe die auf Automatik eingestellt. Das heißt, einige Bilder sind manchmal etwas dunkel, aber das macht nichts. Und ich warte eben noch, bis sie... also einige Bilder sind ein bisschen dunkel und ich habe das jetzt auf Schwarz-Weiß eingestellt, aber die Bilder sind alle auch in Farbe.
Oh, sehr schön.
Dann habt ihr ein
Super Kamera.
paar Bilder von euch.
Oh, wie
Ja, schön.
Ja, schön, ne?
Ja.
Hi, ich bin Fotograf und ich mache so spontane Street Photography. Ich zeige euch einmal, wie das ausschaut. Okay. Ich fotografiere die Leute immer da, wo ich sie treffe. Und ich mache das immer in 2-3 Minuten da, wo ich gerade bin. Hallo. Hi, ich bin Fotograf und ich mache so spontane Street Photography.
Okay.
Ich zeige euch mal, wie das ausschaut.
Ja.
Ich fotografiere die Leute immer da, wo ich sie treffe.
Okay.
Und wenn ihr Lust habt, mache ich ein paar Fotos von euch.
Ja.
Einfach hier.
Ja.
Dann habt ihr ein paar Bilder mit Babybahn.
Ja.
Ja, alles klar. Okay.
Und die Bilder werden ungefähr so ausschauen.
Ja,
gerne.
alles klar.
Ja,
Okay.
schön. Und
Wunderbar.
kommt ihr hier aus Hamburg?
Nee, aus Munster.
Ah ja, Münster ist auch schön.
Munster.
Ah,
nicht
Munster.
Ja, beim Heidepark Soltau in der Nähe.
Ah, das ist auch schön.
Ja.
Ich habe auch schöne Erinnerungen dran.
Ja.
Wir können einfach direkt hier.
Ja, so ein-
Willst du die Brille hoch
Ja.
machen?
Ja,
Oder
steck
eben,
ein, ja.
eben wegpacken? Dann, wir können das ruhig eben einfach hier. Ich guck mal eben von der Einstellung her. Bom, bom.
Ja.
Das passt. Zack. Ja, schön so. Ich schau mal einmal hier. Ich muss hier mit der Hand das scharf stellen.
Ja.
Das ist ein bisschen. Zack. Aber dann. Und genau. Nimm ruhig deine Hand noch. Ja, genau. Sehr schön. Und gebt euch noch einen Kuss. Sehr schön so. Und vielleicht, wenn du dich hinter sie stellst
Ja.
und sie so, ja genau. Ja, schön so. Einmal schauen und gib ihr noch einen Kuss einfach so auf die Wange. Ja, sehr schön. Guti. Sehr schön so. Und dreht euch noch einmal, dass ihr so ein bisschen nach da, dass ich noch mehr den Bauch sehe. Ja, schön. Und schaut noch mal beide zu mir. Einmal so. Sehr schön. Und gib ihr noch einen Kuss. Einfach so auf die. Ja, sehr schön. Und vielleicht einmal, wenn du dich einfach hier anlehnst.
Ja.
Guck mal eben. Und du lehnst dich einfach so ein bisschen an seine Schulter. Ja, genau. Schön so. Ja, schön. Mal so. Und nimm ruhig deine Hand. Ja, genau. Dass ihr viel Kontakt habt. Dass ihr schön am Knuddeln seid. Sehr schön. Und ich komme einmal auch von hier und gib ihr ruhig noch einen Kuss, einfach auf die Stirn. Einfach so. Ja, sehr schön so. Und wir können noch einmal schauen. Wir können ruhig die Tasche einmal mitnehmen. Ich habe die Kamera in schwarz-weiß eingestellt, aber die Bilder sind alle auch in Farbe. Und ich mache immer mehrere Bilder und suche dann die schönsten raus.
Ja.
Ich habe die Kamera jetzt auf Automatik eingestellt. Manchmal sind die Bilder zu hell oder zu dunkel.
Ja.
Aber das macht nichts. Das ist kein Problem. Vielleicht sonst noch einmal, wenn ihr euch hier gegenüberstellt, dass ihr so ein bisschen so Brust an Brust seid. Ja. Genau, du kannst sie ruhig auf den Boden stellen. Ich mach nur. Ja, schön so. Mal schauen. So. Und gebt euch ruhig so einen Pinguin-Kuss mit der Nase. Ja, schön. Und gib ihr. Ja, genau. Sehr schön so. Und noch einmal. Ich gehe noch mal einen Schritt zurück. Einfach so. Ja, schön so. Und vielleicht noch einmal hier.
Ja.
Wenn du dich ein bisschen hier so raufsetzt.
Ja.
Einfach so. Und du dich so ein bisschen leicht auf seinen Schoß setzt. So ein bisschen. Das hat so ein bisschen
Ja.
Flair. Ja, schön so. Dreh dich ruhig noch einen Tick mehr zu ihm. Ja, genau, schön so. Einmal hier so, Luki. Ja, schön. Und zieh sie noch mehr zu dich, dass ihr noch mehr Kontakt habt. Einmal hier so. Und gib ihr auch noch ein Küsschen einfach so. Ja, sehr schön. Und dreh dich noch einmal zu ihm, dann ist okay, wenn die Haare in dein Gesicht gehen. Das ist eigentlich. Und dreh dich ruhig noch mehr, dass du. Und ja, genau, schön so. Sehr schön. Ja, sehr schön. Und ich hätte noch ein letztes.
Ja.
Wenn du dich hier hinstellst, dann musst du gucken, ob das okay ist. Und wenn du dich kniest und einfach den Bauch küsst.
Achso.
Dann habt ihr so ein Bild.
Ja.
Ich denke, das ist ganz schön. Und schaut einmal zueinander. Ja, schön. Und leg nochmal deinen Kopf an den Bauch. Ja, schön. Ja, sehr schön. Dann habt ihr ein paar.
Super.
Ich habe die Kamera jetzt seit 2-3 Stunden und
Ja.
ich habe gemerkt, die macht die Bilder immer einen Tick dunkler, aber das ist in den fertigen Bildern ist das, sieht man das nicht.
Okay.
Ich guck mal eben. Die Kamera speichert gerade noch. Die Bilder sehen jetzt dunkel aus,
Ja.
aber am Ende werden die sehr schön ausschauen.
Ja, okay. Super.
Das ist jetzt nur die.
Ja, sehr schön. Wunderbar.
Dann habt ihr ein paar Bilder.
Ja, cool.
Dann habt ihr ein paar Babybauchbilder.
Now I had 3 ideas that day. I wanted to photograph people on the streets, wherever I am. I wanted to photograph architecture, so the buildings, and therefore I went to the new port here, the new harbor port with the Elbphilharmonie, the really nice building where the classical music is played. There are many tourists in this area because the whole area is new and the architecture is really nice and the buildings are nice. So photographing people on the streets wherever I am, going to the new area with the beautiful buildings, architecture, still life photography. It's really nice very easy to photograph with the camera because you can set the focus to infinity, kind of. So everything that's further away than 7 or 8 meters will be in focus. And that's very easy to walk around and take pictures with it. And the third thing is cars. So after this we go into the city center. It's a Saturday, and a Saturday in Hamburg is always full of cars. And I think we walk around for an hour or maybe even 40 minutes or so in the city center before it starts raining. But with just that 40 minutes we got some really nice images. So in a moment we'll take a look at that also.
Der Autofokus ist viel am Licht. Die haben mir, ich hatte den Preis günstiger gemacht, weil das eine Corona-Hochzeit war. Da waren nur 20 Leute da.
Ja,
Aber
ohne dass ich hinfall.
Hallo. Hallo. Hi, ich bin Fotograf und ich mache so spontane Street Photography.
So we're up in the city center of Hamburg, and we got our first cars here. Now I use a very different kind of focusing. I now use zone focus, which means I set the focus distance to 3 meters or 3.5 meters, and then I take pictures without looking to the camera. I just guess, because I don't want to be obviously taking pictures. I want to be in kind of a stealth mode, so I don't even look at the camera. I look somewhere else, but I push the button, and this way not everybody notices that I take pictures. Now you have to consider there's somebody next to me filming with a microphone on the camera also, so everybody sees we're doing something here, kind of YouTube stuff or so. So we are not that stealth mode, but I don't want to be in your face with these cars and the people in the car. I want to just walk up I don't want them to actually notice that we took some images here. It's just this street alone is always full of cars. You got the all boutiques. You got the. Now what I'm doing here, for example, I focus on the street where I know the next car will drive through, the red Mercedes, and as I now have the focus right, I don't even have to look at the camera. I look somewhere else, push the button, and everything will now be sharp. That's kind of 2 meters away. That is zone focusing. Zone focusing was pretty common decades ago. All the famous street photographers, they walked on the sidewalks like I did here. They set the camera, the focusing to 1.5 meters away, and they walked by a beautiful woman. And when they were 1.5 meters away from that woman, they pushed the shutter, but they were not looking to the camera. They had it around the neck like I did, and you get a really good feeling about distance when you shoot the Leica. I never really knew how many meters is the car away. But with the Leica, just from that first day, I had a feeling how much is 1 meter, how much is 3 meters, how much is 5 meters. I got a really great feeling. And so I focus on a spot on the ground, and then I can put the camera down and just shoot it, and I know everything that's kind of on the street will be in focus.
Der nächste auch, ne? Der ist auch wie beide.
So now it starts raining. I always try to work with the circumstances. I mean, you can complain about so much. You can complain when it's hot, you can complain when it's cold, you can complain when it's raining, you can complain when it's cloudy. I always see everything positive. So when it starts raining, like now, that's a positive thing. That's phenomenal, because now I can get different looks. And I can tell a really nice story with the Leica camera, because it was sunny in the morning and it's raining in the evening, so we got a lot of different images and looks over just the course of one single day, which in fact is just around 5 hours. We picked up the camera at around 1, which was outside of the city, so we started photographing at around 2 o'clock, and I gave the camera back at 7 o'clock in the evening. And so I only had 5 hours. And it was an incredible experience. I think the focus I got really only a few shots that were missed in terms of focus, and I was shooting at f1.4 quite a lot. And the images, just by the look of them, I find they have something really nice. And you know, the day before I went out with the R5, you will find a video just like this, kind of the same places, doing the same stuff, photographing buildings, photographing nice cars, beautiful people on the streets, but of course different cars, different people, different buildings, but kind of the same areas, with the Canon R5, with different lenses. And I really felt that the Leica day, that day was more special. It was more beautiful. I really like the images much more, even though the Canon images look phenomenal as well. Resolution on the Canon R5 is double the resolution kind of. But from an emotional standpoint, this was really a unique experience, and I'm now thinking about, okay, which Leica am I going to get and which will be my first lens, because I had such a great experience with it. So this is the last photo shoot here with the two girls. It's raining heavily, and I don't want to use the Leica too much in the rain, as it is not my camera. But I love photography, so I always go into the situation, and everything is positive. When it rains, it's positive. I can get wet, I don't have a problem with it. We went into this shopping center just after the shooting and we both bought another shirt. And then that's it, that's fine. The rain is fine when you just go with it. And look at these images. You can take nice images in the rain, even with people that you've never met, in an instant. all these people, I don't even know their names. I got their names after the photo shoot. We talked a little bit more, but when I'm photographing these people, they don't know who I am. I don't know who they are. It's just pure excitement because there's a lot of uncertainty, and uncertainty, when you go into it and you get something out of it, that's a beautiful thing. You go approach someone, offer them a photo shoot because you love photography. They can buy the images for a couple of euros, and you get away from it with beautiful images, and you don't have to write an email, you don't have to wait for an assignment. You do it right where you are with whoever you want to photograph. And sometimes from a shooting like this, you get a wedding job a year later, which happens to me every once in a while. So this was my experience with the Leica M10. I want to give you some more user experience in a written form. So in the description you will find a link to my written Leica review, where I go a little bit more into the technical side of the camera and a little bit more thought through. But I want you to see the experience. I want you to see this is one guy with one camera, with one lens, on his first day, photographing strangers, cars, buildings, with any given weather, and mostly open aperture. And what can you get out of it from a Leica M camera? Because not many reviews give you people photography. They photograph buildings and cats and dogs and flowers, but not real portrait photo shoots that are real, where the other person is actually a real person that's not paid to stand there and stand still so you get your focus right. So, I hope you find enjoyment from this video as I had to create this video. And well, let's see in the future how many Leica videos I'm going to make, and when my first own Leica camera will enter my home.
In meiner Hosentasche.
So, schaut euch nochmal gegenseitig an.
Wir sollen uns anschauen, Schatzi. Das war ein Fehler, nicht auf uns einzulassen.
Und vielleicht einmal, sonst nimm doch nochmal die Tasche.
Ja, wir nehmen doch mal noch eine Tasche. Ich vertraue der Innenstadt nicht.
Vielleicht noch einmal einzeln. Sonst wenn du dich nochmal einfach hier so anlegst. Ich mach einmal von ja, schön so. Ich schau mal einmal hier von der Einstellung her. Ja, schön. Ja, sehr schön so. Und ich komme mal ganz nah ran. Ich guck mal, wie nah ich rankommen kann. Einmal so. Ja, schön so. Und von hier sonst noch machen wir an derselben Stelle.
Na gut.
Und dann gucken wir uns gleich mal die Bilder an.
Ja, sehr gerne.
Ja, schön. Ich komm auch einmal nach. Gut. Ja, schön. Und ein bisschen weiter weg. Ja, schön.
Guti. Das ist jetzt auch immer. Guti.
Ja, schön. Wir können mal gucken. Ich habe die Kamera auf Schwarz-Weiß eingestellt, aber die Bilder sind alle auch in Farbe.
Das ist doch dein Ding. Sehr schön.
Und auf Automatik, das heißt, manchmal sind die Bilder zu hell oder zu dunkel.
Ja. Komm vor.
Hier.
Du geh mir weg, Alter, geh mir weg.
Aber die Bilder sind alle auch in Farbe. Es ist,
Ja, okay.
ist jetzt nur in Schwarz-Weiß eingestellt. Und ich mache immer mehrere Bilder und suche dann die schönsten raus.
Ja, bombastisch. Aber krasse Kamera, wie der schön. Wie viel kostet die? Weißt du was?
10.000.
Alles klar, okay, ja, kaufe ich mir morgen. Wow, die sind auch cool.
Also die Kamera kostet 6.000 und das Objektiv kostet 4.500.
I love it. Eine krasse Kamera, wirklich. Wow. Damn!
Ja, ist doch schön, ne?
Richtig süß.
Yeah. I don't ask for nothing but the sunshine, the rays seeing you. Time starts to tick, air starts to breathe. I wonder what means the day to me. I never thought about waking up in dreams. Never thought about being me. I never thought about just breaking it up. I'm breaking it stuff, I'm breaking it up.
Another day is born.
Come and wake me up.
Another day is born.
Come and wake me up.
Another day is born.
Come and take me up.
Another day is born.
Come and wake me up. Hundred people in the world are going to work. Like them beggars, don't take your hands. Remaining in dirt and you melt them snow. Let them trees grow tall and the seasons go by while you won't leave at all. You're the hope and the strength they'll let her wake up to reach and one life to spend. You count our days, you count our time till then. It's you from the tummy we are born in until the day we end. Can't be bought, can't be taken. Give us light that got us through our happy ending. And each
The rain starts pouring down the road and she stops walking, watching those around, but they're ignoring her views and frowns, knowing she's alone, drowning to her soul, knowing she's alone, with the raindrops on her nose, she's alone, knowing no one wants to know that she's alone. She's looking up to these endless clouds. Sunshine can reach her, at least not now. She goes forward with her head held down, knowing she's alone, drowning to her soul, knowing she's alone. The world into her home,
best for the stuff I'm going to handle it. It's gonna mess with you. You might not laugh, you might not cry, you're gonna test it, dude. You might not come to the point, I run to the right and run to the point. I might not laugh, might not cry, I might not get into. It might not come to the point when I wanna follow you, it's a moment. I wanna leave you now when I need you now. It's not a way to hide. It's not a day like this, it's not a day like that. It's not a day, it's another day, it's another day right back. I might not come with you now, I wanna never go when a boy, I wanna go now, going now, now. It's not a day like this. It was the day where we kissed, it was the day that we missed it. It was the day I met the first time I made history. I might not laugh when I cry, it's a moment that I feel inside. You might not get, you might not come, you might not want me die. You might not laugh, might not cry, might not take my time. You might not stay here for the rest of your life. Of your life. For the rest of your life. Of your life. Of your life. For the rest of your life. Yeah, I don't ask for nothing but the sunshine. The race is going one day to blind my eyes, and birds fly around like you can move from wind, fly until they find the place where you have been. Ask for the direction, and it's back in time. The workaholics say to say you died, but knowing you'd come back, children await you. You open them doors and make them faithful. Nightmares vanish, dreams come true. It's what they say every time they're seeing you. Time starts to tick, air starts to breathe. I wonder what means the day to me. I never thought about waking up in dreams. Never thought about being me. I never thought about just breaking it up. I'm breaking it stuff, I'm breaking it up.
Another day is born.
Come and wake me up.
Another day is born.
Come and wake me up.
Another day is born.
Come and take me up.
Another day is born.
Come and wake me up. And you melt them snow, let them trees grow tall, and the seasons go by while you won't leave at all. You're the hope and the strength they'll let her wake up.